Flight delays and cancellations continue as the federal government shutdown drags on, and a Category 5 hurricane is bearing down today on Jamaica. Good morning, I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. It's day 27 of the federal government shutdown. State governors have been warning that federal aid for food assistance will run out by Saturday morning. Now, the Trump administration is saying the same thing. On its homepage, the Agriculture Department is blaming the looming food scarcity on Democrats. The homepage also makes other false statements about Democrats. The Federal Aviation Administration says that more flights will be delayed or canceled this week because of the federal government shutdown. Air traffic controllers will miss their first full paycheck tomorrow, and some aren't coming to work. There was already a shortage of these workers. Steve Futterman reports from the Los Angeles airport, where a ground stop disrupted travel yesterday.
These staffing shortages have been causing problems at various airports, and here it affected LAX. Flights between Los Angeles and Oakland faced ground stops, causing delays anywhere from around 50 minutes to nearly 90 minutes. A total of 900 minutes in delays, according to the FAA. Now, Sean Duffy, who's the Secretary of Transportation, says that these problems could increase in the coming days. That's because air traffic controllers are set to miss their first paychecks in the coming week. For NPR News, I'm Steve Futterman at Los Angeles International Airport.
Hurricane Melissa is now a Category 5 storm that's expected to move over Jamaica as soon as tonight. NPR's Nathan Rott reports the island and other countries in the Caribbean are bracing for catastrophic flooding.
30 inches of rain are expected in some parts of the Caribbean over the coming days, creating life-threatening and catastrophic conditions, the National Hurricane Center warns. Flash floods and debris flows or mudslides are expected. Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and Cuba are also being affected, but the immediate forecast warns the slow-moving storm will move close to or directly over Jamaica in the coming days. The U.S. Navy began evacuating personnel from Guantanamo Bay in Cuba over the weekend. Nate Rott, NPR News.
A U.S. warship has docked in the Caribbean island nation of Trinidad and Tobago. The Trump administration has significantly boosted the U.S. military presence near the South American countries of Venezuela and Colombia. South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham is an ally of President Trump's. Graham says he believes Trump has decided that Venezuela's leader, Nicolas Maduro, is a drug trafficker who needs to go.
These military assets are moving forward to deal with a country that's got blood on its hands when it comes to Americans by flooding our country with drugs from Venezuela and Colombia. So I hope Maduro would leave peacefully, but I don't think he's going to stay around much longer.
Graham spoke on CBS's Face the Nation. President Trump is in Tokyo after making his first stop this weekend in Malaysia for an Asian summit meeting. NPR's Anthony Kuhn reports that Trump's hosts will include Japan's first female prime minister, who took office just last week.
En route to Tokyo, President Trump said he looked forward to meeting Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi, who he noted was a great friend of the late ex-Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. During Trump's first term, Abe entertained him with golf and Wagyu burgers to ease trade tensions. Abe's protege, Takaichi, will try to do the same by purchasing U.S. rice, soybeans, and pickup trucks. President Trump will also pay a visit to Japan's Emperor Naruhito and stop by the aircraft carrier USS George Washington at its home port in Yokosuka, Japan. Trump also said he expects to reach a deal in a meeting with China's leader Xi Jinping on the sidelines of a regional economic summit in South Korea. Anthony Kuhn, NPR News, Seoul.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the U.S. and China have reached a substantial framework for a trade deal. It involves rare earths and tariffs. Bessent says that for now, the U.S. will not impose 100% tariffs on China. President Trump slapped an additional 10% tariff on U.S. imports of goods from Canada. Trump says this was for an anti-tariff commercial released by the Canadian provincial government of Ontario. Dan Karpinchuk reports that commercial has been taken down.
The additional tariff came because Trump said the ad should have been pulled immediately, but many Canadian politicians are supporting Ontario's approach. Brampton Mayor Patrick Brown says he's glad Ontario Premier Doug Ford had the courage to call out the president on inconsistencies. Prince Edward Island Premier Robert Lance said Ford has been a strong voice and effective at communicating the frustrations Canadians feel over tariffs. And British Columbia is about to roll out its own anti-tariff ad campaign over levies on Canadian softwood lumber. Ford himself says the ad did what it was supposed to, reach U.S. audiences at the highest level. For NPR News, I'm Dan Karpenchuk in Toronto.
Virginia Democratic lawmakers have called the state's General Assembly back for a meeting today. Virginia may be the latest state to take up congressional redistricting efforts. From member station VPM, Jad Khalil tells us the effort could eliminate Virginia's bipartisan redistricting commission.
If Democrats want to get a new map in front of voters by the midterms, they'll have to amend the Constitution to do so. The meeting would jumpstart the process, and new legislators that come into office after next week's election would have to approve the same amendment. Virginia has 6 Democrats in Congress and 5 Republicans.
Jad Khalil reporting. Food producer Hormel is recalling nearly 6 million pounds of frozen, ready-to-eat chicken. The Agriculture Department says the company reports the chicken may be contaminated with pieces of metal. A list of affected Hormel products is on the Agriculture Department's homepage. The Food and Drug Administration has approved a new medication to treat symptoms of menopause, hot flashes, and night sweats. The drug, Linquet, is a once-a-day pill that does not use hormones. The drug maker, Bayer, says it could soon be available in the United States. Hot flashes and night sweats can be debilitating and long-lasting, often for Black women in particular. You're listening to NPR.